Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 3 of the Hero's Edge podcast. Today is the Deadpool special because we are in the midst of the new Deadpool movie coming up Friday. And also we have the Deadpool release of the 25th anniversary comic from Marvel, Deadpool number 7. So we have a lot of Deadpool coming up, and here's the Deadpool special. I'm Blake Britton, your host, and
Darren Gravina.
Danny Humphrey.
Cameron Kivett.
all right, so most of you know Deadpool, right? Everybody knows Wade Wilson. He's like the coolest dude, right? Wacky, spazzy, immature, crazy superhero, right? We're going to be talking about his origin, where he came from, who he was before he was Deadpool, how he became Deadpool, some things that he was amazing in, such as some of his miniseries like Deadpool Illustrated, Deadpool Thanos. And we're also going to be talking about the new run. Along with, we're going to have a little trivia game afterward, so it should be fun. So starting off the origin story, I'm gonna pass this one over to Darren.
So, let's see.
Give us a little intro.
He first appeared in New Mutants 98 as an assassin sent to kill Cable. It was quite notable that he would constantly taunt Cable and piss him off, and Cable would constantly punch him in the jaw to shut him up to where he would regenerate. And his origins, his name is Wade Wilson. He was basically brought into Department K, which was a Canadian super soldier program. And then he was taken into Weapon X and given a variant of Wolverine's healing factor.
Oh yeah.
Which took care of the cancer, but also gave him the messed up skin. And then he was driven a little bit insane and kind of just went around killing people. And then he started to get kind of, conscience. And now he's kind of a good guy.
Kind of?
A little bit.
He's always been a little nutty, but...
Anti-hero, but he started out as a villain for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Like a heavy villain.
Or I would even argue more like an anti-hero. Because, he's a mercenary.
Yeah, it's a gray area.
Yeah.
It is a pretty shady area. But
He's
seeing that...
teaming up with a lot more heroes these days than villains.
Not that the heroes are usually happy with it.
No.
Especially not Cable.
Yeah.
Or
Spider-Man actually recently left the Avengers because
they don't get
Deadpool
along.
joined the team.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm out of here. But to jump on the origin a little bit, the reason why his name is Deadpool is because in Department K or whatever, they would drag the misfits that they all worked on and did experiments and stuff like that on to like a hospice where they all just laid and in pain, and they would actually take a pool and bet on who was gonna die next. And when he busted out, being mentally insane, he just took the name based off of the game that, they all played inside there with. Hence Deadpool.
That's a cool little kind of origin story.
Yeah.
For a guy who's so wacky, he does have a very dark, gritty origin.
Yeah, but he loves chimichangas, and that's really all that matters. Now,
Also in his origin, though, you can't forget that he was a ripoff or homage, tribute, whatever you want to call it, to Deathstroke, the Terminator from DC, very popular villain.
Well,
But,
Rob Liefeld did also make Fighting American, who was pretty much a ripoff of Captain America. So,
I feel like we should have a whole special just on who ripped off who.
so it'll
feel
just be about Rob Liefeld.
Yeah.
When the original writer for New Mutants, Fabian Nacina, had seen the artwork that Rob Liefeld had come up with for Deadpool, knowing that he was a big Teen Titans fan, he was like, dude, this is Deathstroke the Terminator. And he's like, well, yeah, pretty much. And he's like, yeah, red instead of orange, black instead of blue. Come on, man.
Slade
and
Wilson,
he's like,
Wade Wilson.
Yeah.
So
Right, yeah.
that's why Fabian came up with the name Wade Wilson.
But to Marvel's credit, they did evolve the character over time and, gave him the personality that he has that distinguishingly separates him from Deathstroke. To their credit. He knows.
Oh, yeah.
past
I
the
mean,
fourth wall.
Fabian basically did it as a joke unto themselves that, It was more of, I would say, less of a ripoff and more of a homage of the character from Marvel.
Well, look at where Deadpool is now versus where Deathstroke is.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
are different now.
I mean, don't
He's
get me
climbed the
wrong.
ladder quite a bit.
Yeah, Deathstroke. He's kind of just way down there. You know, everybody knows Deathstroke. He's cool, but if you talk to anybody on the street nowadays, it's do you know Deadpool?
Yeah,
well,
he's
yeah,
a pop culture icon now.
Yeah, I would say right now he's probably Marvel's most popular character.
Easy.
Dude, I went into the liquor store about a week ago to just pick up some drinks for the night, and he's on Mike's Hard Lemonades. Like,
What?
yeah, there's different kinds of Mike's Hard Lemonades, and he's on there with different poses, and he's like, "Hey, what's up?" You know, which is cool because the thing of it is a lot of kids are trying to get into Deadpool, but they shouldn't be. There's constant, parental advisories on all of these books here that we're talking about for the most part because his books are really gritty, very violent. And Ryan Reynolds, who's playing Deadpool, has done several, public messages about it's not for kids. It's not supposed to be.
A mother actually even tried to cite a list to get a PG-13 version of the movie. Made so that kids could go see it. And, honestly, some movies kids need to wait to see or sneak in like we did back in the 80s. I wanted to go see Terminator 2 too, but I had to sneak in to go see it. You're just going to have to take your punches, kids.
Yeah. just how gritty he really is. I mean, he is a lunatic, right? I mean, what is the extent of his... How do you say
multiple
sanity?
personalities? He knows he's a comic book character. He sees past the fourth wall.
Oh yeah.
We haven't seen a character like that since Grant Morrison's Ant-Man, or not Ant-Man, Animal Man.
Or Zach from Saved by the Bell.
Yeah.
Deadpool actually has multiple dialogue boxes,
Yeah.
each representing a different voice. One has white text, one has yellow text, and then there's his voice that responds to both of them interchangeably. So he's pretty much got 3 going at all times.
Well, kind of sneaking in, Cullen Bunn and Salva Espin wrote the Killustrated, Deadpool Killustrated, or the Killogy, I guess you could say.
Yeah, the Killogy, which is Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe, Deadpool Killustrated, and then Deadpool kills Deadpool, which Deadpool Killustrated has awesome cover art, by the way, from Mike Domundo, and they just look like, they insert him into, classic scenes from, fantasy stories.
Yeah. Well, the reason I bring it up, though, is because in the beginning of that book, they talk about Deadpool knowing he's a superhero in a comic book.
Yeah.
So they send him into the Ideaverse. So when he goes in the Ideaverse, he tries to kill everything that has ever been a media print.
Yeah, because in Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe, he realizes, the fourth wall thing, but he takes it to a dark place. He realizes that if he were to kill everything and nothing existed anymore, then there'd be no more suffering, all the heroes wouldn't be puppets dancing for us, the readers, to, just our viewing pleasure. And he thinks he can end it all, and that would be the peaceful alternative. So after he kills the Marvel Universe, he starts killing other multiple universes and heroes and all that stuff, and he realizes he's not getting anywhere. So what he realizes he has to do is kill the figures and historical stories that represent those characters, where the inspiration comes from. So he starts killing Moby Dick, the Three Musketeers, and since Marvel's owned by Disney, he gets to kill the Little Mermaid.
Yep, that was awesome.
The Jungle Book characters.
Yeah, Mowgli tried to attack him.
Yeah, he actually teams up with Khan.
Yeah,
the Tiger Khan.
and Frankenstein.
Yeah,
I
and
guess
Frankenstein.
Frankenpool, I guess you could put it.
Yeah, because he alters his genetics.
Yeah, he takes his brain and just kind of shoves it in Frankenstein. You'll be my minion.
It seems like his insanity goes to different places when he allows it to or wants it to, and then other times he seems like he can dial it back, a little bit.
Yeah, well, that's more like when he's trying to be on the Avengers, and he's like, I can be an Avenger. Yeah. And he's just...
And he chastises Cable for killing someone. He's like, dude, you're on the Avengers. You can't do that. You can't start killing people.
Speaking of Cable, you want to talk about the Deadpool Cable run?
Well, they start off hating each other, and then for some reason they started teaming up, and it was kind of by happenstance. I forget the exact reason, but they shared a genetic link. So whenever Cable would do his body slide, they would merge. And like no matter, so if Cable could be like miles away from Deadpool, and he would body slide, so he would teleport somewhere, and then Deadpool would just disappear wherever he's at, and would be a part of Cable, and then they would just both be angry and pull each other apart.
After that, Cable gave him a mobile teleportation system so that he can teleport separately from Cable's body slide.
Yep. So they pretty much teamed up. He basically saved Cable. Cable got so powerful to the point to where he was actually fighting the Silver Surfer. And the Silver Surfer, I mean, okay, yeah, it's pretty cool to see Cable fight against the Silver Surfer, but the Silver Surfer's a cosmic being, kick his butt.
He's all
and he was going to die, and basically they had to send Deadpool into a different timeline to get a younger Cable to save older Cable. But then House of M happened, and he went to the House of M reality, got that younger Cable, and brought him back. And just like all kinds of craziness happened. And in fact, during Civil War, they were both on opposite sides. Cable was on Cap's side because in the far future, he wields Captain America's shield. And then Deadpool, well, he got paid by Iron Man, so he was on Iron Man's side.
Yep, and hence his mercenary.
Yep. He goes where the money's at.
That gray
But it's a
area.
great series just because it reflects just how well that duo of funny man, straight man works, you know, even in a comic book instance, you know, because whenever he teams up with a straight man, the comic seems to thrive a little more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just because you got this serious guy with a big gun.
Yeah.
And then creating, you know, hijinks in the background is like Bugs Bunny of the Marvel Universe. And he's like, get your shit straight or whatever, you know?
So you'd mentioned him going to the straight man. So if he would have joined with the XMen and Iceman, would that be a... I don't even know that.
He went there.
So anyway, so like
Are you just gonna just like continue forward after that?
I'm just gonna pretend that never happened. I'm just gonna keep going.
You're not winning any Glad rewards with that one.
No, I don't plan to. So speaking of Deadpool,
For those
and
who
his
don't know,
relationship-
Marvel basically just outed younger Iceman and outed older Iceman within 4 books of each other or something.
Yeah,
like
pretty
that?
much. Pretty much. Which, if you've ever, I mean, if you look at Iceman's past, not to go on a segue with it, it actually does make sense. But they just kind of took like 2 books and were like, oh yeah, by the way, this is the
We
thing.
can go a little further with it, but this is a Deadpool podcast, so we're gonna leave that for another time.
For another time, yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to like go into more relationships that Deadpool has had. Maybe what kind of friends has he had?
Well, there's Weasel, which was his like weapons guy.
Yeah.
And
This tech guy.
yeah, and they were very close.
He's like the M. For
Yes.
Deadpool.
Yeah. And he was
No
always
Q.
pretty much, and he'd always get into like Weasel. It seemed was always getting captured, and then Deadpool would have to go save him.
This is like his Jimmy Olsen.
In a
If he had
way,
signal watch, but-
in a way, Deadpool kind of created or made Weasel the way he is, because there is a part of in Deadpool where Deadpool goes back in time to when Weasel was in school, and he actually happened to go to school with Peter Parker. And he was like an alumni with Peter Parker and Jessica Jones within the same school.
That's cool.
And he gets Weasel into some stuff that ends up putting him on a life of crime. And then goes back to the future. So it basically, he makes Weasel. Like in school, his name was Jack Hammer. But,
Oh man.
you know, which seems like a villain name if you ask me. I don't know why you went with Weasel, but...
Or a late night Cinemax name.
Totally. So he kind of made Weasel the way he is.
Yeah. So how would you describe their relationship though? As like Deadpool being like more of the boss?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're kind of. I mean, he tells a lot to Weasel. He confides him in a lot. Where most other people, he's just a complete loon with. There are times when he's with Weasel when he's like, "Hey, this is how I really feel, and I'm not acting like a crazy person."
Yeah. He's a nut. So what about Hydro Bob?
Oh, Hydro Bob. Well,
wonder if we
let's
gotta
see.
stay having
A
Hydro
little
Bob.
history on Bob. He wanted a new job, and his wife Allison was kind of breathing down his throat. So he's figured, well, I'll join up with Hydra. Hydra has a great insurance
Yeah, that's
policy
true.
and a dental plan. And then he joined up and found out that they didn't have that great of a dental plan.
Yeah.
Imagine that. The
He was
evil
mad there was no
organization.
dental plan that the same dental plan they didn't have it.
Oh, they had a better one at AIM.
He was upset about it.
The evil organization didn't come through with their benefits. Imagine that.
Well, maybe Sunspot, since he took AIM, maybe he's got a better bleaching service.
Well,
Sunspot. Some of Deadpool's better relationships, I would say, would either be Cable, Spider-Man.
and we can't forget Blind Al. The old English woman that he keeps as a hostage in his house.
Yeah, as a hostage. I think she stays there because he really has nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
She actually, he was supposed to assassinate her, and he went to Zaire, where she was a diplomat or something. For some reason, they never go into it. He ended up killing everyone else but her. And then he literally kept her as a hostage. Now, she's blind. She's been blind for quite some time. And he would do incredibly cruel things like throw her in a room that he called the box, which he never locked. But there was just sharp things all over the place for her to just bump into and stuff like that. But as time, and then he would always call her blind. He'd always rag on her about her age and stuff like that. But as time has gone on, their relationship has kind of changed to where, they joke around and stuff like that. And I think a part of his wit comes from her because she's a bit of a smartass.
I can agree to that.
I can see her more as kind of like an anti-role now.
Yes. Yes. Kind of like his mom in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of his, where he's getting his, his good side from is coming from her.
Yeah.
I mean, the extent of their jokes to each other now is she'll put, if he starts giving her crap, she'll put laxative in his food.
Yep.
Or he'll go in, she's got her coffee cup and they're talking in the morning. He has his coffee cup and then he switches the salt and sugar. And then he walks away waiting for her to get tricked and then she switches them back and then he puts the salt in his coffee. Stuff like that. He even was kind enough to send her because he ended up releasing her and he sent her a Braille invitation for his wedding, but he doesn't know Braille. So it ended up being an invitation to a gang funeral.
Gang funeral. That's awesome.
That's hilarious.
And she didn't know any better, so.
Now, which wedding was that?
That was his wedding.
Yeah. The wedding of Deadpool.
Yep.
Has the Guinness Book of World Records for most characters on a cover ever.
I'm just happy he
Yeah.
officiated it.
He married Shikla, like a goddess of death.
Yep.
Isn't she a succubus?
She is a succubus.
Then
Yeah.
the only reason they got married, though, too, is because she didn't want to marry Dracula. Because it was oriented towards she has to marry Dracula. And Deadpool's like, no, I'll save you. And so they really don't have a good marriage at all.
No, they live in a sewer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles of the Marvel Universe. They live in a sewer. He comes home and she's sacrificing a goat, in her, sweater. And he gets mad, are you doing that in our living room, really?
I feel that's a normal thing in marriages, though.
Yeah,
You know,
that's true.
You come home and the woman's sacrificing something.
You got to take the give with the take. And
Yeah. It's all about compromise.
Every relationship has its issues. One of the funny things about his relationship with Spider-Man is that, Spider-Man hates him, but Deadpool loves Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, Deadpool doesn't, he seems to like everybody. There are
Oh,
a few
yeah.
people he doesn't.
Well, the funny things was in Deadpool Annual number 2 in 2013. I don't know what volume or era that is. It's a few years ago. But anyway, Spider-Man was running around, all day, and he keeps getting stabbed by random people when he's going to help out, and he's so woozy from all the blood loss. He's like, oh my God. And Deadpool's like, hey, what's up, dude? And he's just like, yeah, what's up, Deadpool? Not even pushing him away. He's just like, I'm having the worst day ever. I just keep getting stabbed by random people. Come to find out, it's the Chameleon, one of Spider-Man's villains, and he just is turning into pedestrians and stabbing them when he goes to save people. Yep. So Deadpool's like, all right, I'm going to switch costumes with you. You lay here. And he puts on Spider-Man's outfit and he goes to take care of the chameleon. One of the funny things is as soon as he tries to do a web shooter, realizes he almost rips his arm completely out of the socket because he doesn't have the super strength to like support it.
Yeah.
And later on, he ends up like saving Chameleon because he can't let him die while he's wearing Spider-Man's costume. It's a really good issue. Read it.
Were you saying like his muscles were re-knitting?
Yeah, he's
every
holding-
time he went to web sling, his muscles would re-knit and pull out a socket.
Yeah,
Re-knit.
so he's like going like that kind of because his muscles
Yeah.
are fixing themselves and then it's ripping out a socket again. And when he's holding a helicopter later on, they're literally fixing as fast as they're tearing, and that's how he's holding on to it with super strength. Good issue though.
Hold that thought. We're gonna start talking about Deadpool's relationships. Ow, ow. I'm gonna start off with we gotta say copycat.
Copycat.
Yeah.
Her name is Vanessa. How do you?
Carlisle?
Carlisle. Yeah.
I love the name Carlisle.
hmm
Sorry, go on.
But that was his girlfriend. He was with her when he was first given the prognosis that he had cancer, and then he ended up leaving her because he didn't want her to, be stuck with somebody who was terminal, like have her go through that.
Mm-hmm.
And then she gained her mutation, which is to shapeshift. And
She'll be in the movie, you said, right?
Yeah.
yes, and then when he first appeared, he was taken out by a mercenary by the name of Domino, who was a friend of Cable. Well, it wasn't really Domino; it was Vanessa in disguise, and basically they planted her in XForce for quite some time until
Yeah,
Cable
first
kind of
15 issues.
until Cable
Everyone
figured
thought
it out.
that was Domino.
Yeah, but didn't he left her on horrible terms though? Didn't he just uproot and leave?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
He jump kicked her in the face.
Yeah, just see you. Yeah, just like.
I mean, he kind of jump kicked her in the face.
Yeah.
Still better than getting a breakup text.
He could just put "you're single" now on his foot and just be like, "You're single."
The last
nail
thing
her
you
in
see before you go into unconsciousness.
That's awesome.
He'd go heavy on the marker too, and you just have it stamped into your face
Yeah, right.
as you wake up.
But I think it made for a kind of interesting relationship with Domino and Deadpool after that fact, because they have teamed up, like the real Domino. They have teamed up on multiple occasions, and I don't know if Domino knows like what happened, like.
Oh, she does.
Okay, so.
She does.
So, weighing that in the fact, that dynamic within themselves, they know that they have that with each other in their past.
Yeah.
And, they continue to move forward kind of despite that. And if you know that about those characters, it makes for a really interesting read when you see them on the comic pages together.
Yeah.
So.
And this is on Uncanny XForce, right?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't.
It was not Uncanny XForce.
No,
but-
they've teamed up other places, but
Their team ups actually inspired the Superpower Beatdown guys to do the Joker and Harley Quinn versus Deadpool and Domino video online. It's actually really cool. They do a lot of really sweet fights.
Beat down. All right, so you guys want to talk about some of the greatest writers?
I like
Sure.
Cullen
What do you
Bunn.
guys think? Cullen Bunn, yeah, he's the man.
Wrote the Killogy.
Yeah, he wrote the Kill. That's the one we talked about earlier.
Also, recently he wrote Lobo. He wrote Magneto. He's currently writing Sinestro and Uncanny XMen.
maybe it was such a good run.
It was really good.
Great book.
Really
Magneto's
good.
always awesome. But yeah, and then he always teams up with Salva Espin. It seems like. Then there's Joe Kelly.
Yep, Joe Kelly.
Joe Kelly,
did
Ed
the
McGuinness.
Ed McGuinness. That was some of Ed McGuinness's first work, I believe.
Yeah.
He had done Superman.
Yep. He
Yeah.
did Superman, Batman.
Yep.
He's gonna be at C2E2 this year.
Yep.
I cannot
Yes.
wait to meet this guy.
That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. So big shout out to him. I'm gonna be standing and waiting in line for a long period
I
of
will
time.
too
That's gonna
with
be a
my
day.
Superman
Yeah.
Batman comics.
Yeah, that'll be an easy day.
Yeah.
Because you're going 3 days, you might as well one with them.
We got all weekend.
But yeah, they're actually Joe Kelly and Ed McGuinness are actually writing the new SpiderMan Deadpool run, which is awesome.
Nice.
Awesome, hilarious Deadpool. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. The quirky Spider-Man, along with the nuts, wannabe awesome Deadpool.
Well, I know you've expressed before you're not the biggest Spider-Man fan.
Yeah, well,
So-
Spider-Man's all right.
Yeah,
Spider-Man's all right.
I'm
It
sure
depends
it's
which one we're
better.
talking about.
Yeah,
The new Amazing Spider-Man with Peter Parker
I
being
really
an adult.
like that.
Oh baby,
I like that a lot.
Because he hasn't been an adult for.
he's been a teenager for the last how many years?
And now that he owns the Baxter Building and has
Yeah.
Parker Industries, he's kind of his own like, adult.
He's
Poor
he's been,
man's
he was like married like 20 years ago.
God,
That
we're just talking about Deadpool's relationship. Spider-Man's would be another hour.
Let's just bring up the adult thing for Spider-Man. He was married. I mean, I know Mephisto messed with that up, but you know.
The poor guy's had horrible ordeals with women.
Yeah, poor Spider-Man. But
Getting
yeah.
back on topic though, I would say probably my favorite Deadpool writer is Fabian Messina, and he created Deadpool along with Rob Liefeld, and he went on to write his first solo series called Circle Chase, which was amazing. That's actually when he first met Siren, Banshee's daughter, and ended up starting to develop a relationship with her.
No, he fell in love with her. She never quite. I mean, she ended up finding him.
Well,
to
in
be a
that book specifically, they just started developing their relationship. He said he basically how it started was like you and ooh la la over there, and she's like ooh la la, and that's kind of how it started, and she's like you'll never have a chance. And towards the end of the series, like he didn't really want to, but he revealed his face to her, and he kind of hid it to her throughout the whole series. And she still came up and was warm with him. So I think that after that fact, that's when they started developing their relationship together. But yeah, the series is called Circle Chase. It has art by Joe Mad, early Joe Madureira in his career, 1993, but still impeccable art even back then.
That guy's the
So
man.
and then moving forward, he ended up drawing Cable and Deadpool, almost like his first early series of Cable and Deadpool. And he invented, the character, the Weasel, and so he has a really huge, in-depth background when it comes to Deadpool. So if you're gonna start with Deadpool, I would recommend looking up him as a writer.
That's a great idea.
And he actually wrote New Mutants '98. So
Wow. Yeah, that's more knowledge than I ever knew about the backstory of his. Well, at least the creators of him.
yeah, he's a really big. It seemed like he's a really big fan of the character once he started developing him.
Yeah.
Even though he kind of said it was a ripoff of Deathstroke, he became his own man after a while.
But they like we were talking earlier. I mean, they had made Deadpool into being such a better character by making fun of everything.
Mm-hmm. It took such a serious Marvel universe, and it's nice to see those characters like Spider-Man and Deadpool, and certain characters like live it up and be funny and lighten the mood once in a while. Not to go on to Spider-Man again, but I remember after reading XMen and Wolverine, and I'm an intense Wolverine fan, but after reading that, when he teamed up with Spider-Man, in Marvel Presents number 50, I can remember Spider-Man. They were jumping into a room of thugs, and they beat all the thugs down, and Spider-Man was like, "Oh dear God, that's my dentist." And as an 8-year-old kid, I was cracking up on my bed because it brings that liveliness into like a Marvel universe that's so intense.
And that's what makes it great about Spider-Man and Deadpool teaming up though too, because they are both hilarious.
Yeah.
Because you got Deadpool's kind of like screwy whackhead humor, right? Just talking about random things at random times.
Yeah.
And then you got Spider-Man with the quirky, quick-witted light humor.
Absolutely. And his new comic is written by Joe Kelly.
Yes.
Who did that old Ed McGuinness Joe Kelly run.
Yeah.
And it's fun. It's fun. I read the first book, and if you're looking for a little like escape from, again, that intense Marvel universe that's so serious all the time, especially after the Secret Wars, I would recommend that book.
Yeah. Great book. Hilarious. Any other creators you guys want to bring up? I got.
I personally am a fan of Ed Brubaker's work on Uncanny XForce, which Deadpool was a part of the team. I mean, he toned him down a bit. He wasn't as just kind of crazy, over-the-top wacky. Mm-hmm. But whenever he did talk, it was always hilarious. Yeah. Or generally to his team, annoying as all hell. Yeah. And there was a scene in there where he got nailed by... him and Archangel got nailed by Famine. And Famen's one of Apocalypse's horsemen's general ability is to basically make you emaciated, completely hungry. And he's so hurt that everything he's saying is gibberish. And it's just like 3 complete pages of just him speaking gibberish, but staying on task of walking over to Angel, picking him up, bringing him someplace safe, and then like, oh, I'm healing, I'm okay. You need food. And he's got all the pouches on his belt, which is a complete 90s thing. It's a complete, like, all the pouches. Packs. Yeah, all of it. Yeah. And he busts out some Pop Rocks and Coke. Yeah. And he's like, oh, here, let me feed you. And he's feeding the Pop Rocks and Coke. And then he's out. And Angel's still laying there, like, emaciated and about to die. And then he's like, well, here, like, eat this pretty bird. And he's like, Wade, what are you feeding me? He's like, if I tell you promise to keep eating it. And it pans back, and you see he's got his sleeve up, and he's cutting pieces of skin off of his arm, feeding it to him, heals it back, cuts it again. Yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's kind of creepy and sick, but it's like he is intelligent and witty enough to like, all right, I got to save you, even though I'm a complete loon.
Yeah, yeah, it's a survival technique, basically.
Yeah. I was going to say, but he's nutty enough just to start slicing his arm.
And then later in the series, they're hunting the child Apocalypse. Basically, Apocalypse dies, comes back, his people groom him to be the Apocalypse, and then, it continues. And at this time, he's just a kid. Mm-hmm. And they find him, and they're like, Wolverine and Psylocke are like, we could just take him back to the school. We have a school. We can train him. We can make him good. And Archangel even comes to that realization. He wants to kill him. After everything Apocalypse has done to him, he's like, you know what? You're right. And Deadpool's like, hey, that sounds like a great idea. Phantom X walks up, puts a bullet in the kid's head, dead. And Deadpool's like, what are you doing? What did you do? And he ends up, everyone, goes away from the mission, quiet, somber. Even Deadpool isn't saying a word. He's just kind of holding his head like, what just happened? Yeah. And then later on, he calls a meeting. Deadpool calls the meeting and is like, hey, we need to have a talk. And I figured if I called one of you separately, you wouldn't take my
out of all these X-Men, he's the one that calls the meeting.
And he's like, I have a problem with what we did. Like, that's wrong. That's not what I signed up for. And Wolverine's like, actually, this is exactly what you signed up for. This is a Wetworks team. We go in, we handle problems, we take them out. Yeah. You're a mercenary. This is what you do. He's like, we just killed a kid. He just killed a kid. That's not cool. I'm not good with that. I'm walking away. And Wolverine's like, you know what? Fine. Because that's exactly what you are. You're a mercenary. This is what you get paid for. Yeah. And Archangel's like, well, actually, I've been giving him checks for a year. He hasn't cashed one of them. He's been working for free.
Sounds like the heroes for the mercs for hire.
Kinda, yeah. But I mean, he was doing it for free. He just wanted to help out. He just kind of wanted to be a part of the team. And I like it when they take a character who is so crazy wacky and a nut and kind of make him more human.
All of a sudden, that moral compass kind of clicks back on. Yeah. In a weird situation.
And later on in the series, whenever he deals with Phantom X, he never really wants anything to do with him. He's very short with him. He's like, you know what? You're an idiot. I don't like you. I'm going to go work alone because I work better alone. Have fun.
I've only known Phantom X to be a loony.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He'll be straight out for a little while, and it's just like, what just happened to you?
And way later in the series, the Age of Apocalypse version of Nightcrawler shows up, and he cannot stand the Age of Apocalypse Nightcrawler. Now, in the Age of Apocalypse...
for reasons. Well, like that makes sense.
In the Age, Deadpool's known as Dead Man Wade. Mm-hmm. And he's a science experiment with a crazy healing factor, but he's not... He's crazy to the point of catatonic. And... when they bring him to the Savage Land, he just goes crazy and starts killing people, and Nightcrawler has to fight him. And you're just thinking, what's Nightcrawler going to do to him? He can teleport. Well, he jumps, grabs a hold of his head, teleports the head off, kills him.
Decapitating Deadpool.
He's like, oh, by the way, I killed you, or a version of you, and just kind of always pokes him with it. And he's like, I really hate you. I really hate you. And they go to fight in Avalon, which is where the Captain Britain Corps are from. Mm-hmm. And the moment he comes through the portal, he gets his like head cut off by some goblin troll. And he's like, really? And his head's just laying there on a spike, and Nightcrawler gets on a horse and is riding by, all very like Errol Flynn swashbuckler like, takes his rapier, picks up the head, and he's holding on to it, and Wade's just like, I hate you. I really hate you. And he's like, oh, well, why do you hate me? I saved you, and I'm going to put you back on your body. Or should I not do that? And he's like, oh, I hate you. But it was nice to see the character like that. And the Child Apocalypse ends up getting cloned, blah, blah, blah. His name's Evan. He's in new X-Men right now. Mm-hmm. And him and Wade actually get really close. And he's like, oh, I'm like your Uncle Wade now. And towards the end of the series, Evan's at the Xavier school. And he, like, knocks on his window, and Evan opens it up. He's like, hey, buddy, how's it going? And then he's talking with him. He's like, hey, I brought you some pornos. Because I'm your uncle. That's what I do. You know, it was nice to see the character be... you know, kind of more humanized. Like, he just wants to be accepted.
Yeah, it seems like that's the direction he wants to go, is to search for that semblance of normalcy, you know, that he doesn't have. Yeah. Like, you know, he's so into his own head and loony all the time, and that's what he does for a living. His mouth is what makes him good. Yeah. And, you know, on those off times when he is hanging out heroes that he knows isn't going to kill him in the next 5 seconds. You know, it seems like he tries to develop some kind of relationship. You know what I mean?
Every single time. Like,
well, he earns the name Mark with a Mouth. Yeah. You know.
Well, like, I just want to bring this up because you brought up an incredible point about Deadpool. In Deadpool versus Carnage, right?
Oh, that was a good
Carnage is just pumping, you know, all the symbiote into Deadpool, and he's just in him, and he's flowing through his bloodstream and all that. And Deadpool's
he like scarecrows him. He like puts it in him, and like all of his limbs go out, and just like separates him completely from his body.
Yeah. So then Carnage kind of pulls him in, and Deadpool's still trying to have a conversation with the dude. Like, yeah, so you know, when we get done with here, I'm still gonna find out where you're going, and then I think we should probably get like maybe chimichangas later or something. Like, he just starts to keep like stabbing into Carnage, and
you know, which brings me
just like,
another point up. Like, I don't know if he has some kind of Latin background or what, but he's always got like sombreros on. Yeah. He loves chimichangas. In his past, it shows him being a blonde, fair-haired guy. But I mean, he's got to have some kind of Latin blood in him.
He's a Spaniard, through and through. He's got to be a Spaniard, you know. But that's what brings up Massacre. Massacre just came out in Deadpool 3.1, right? He only speaks Spanish. So you're trying to read a book, and I think it was Deadpool number 5. I'm pretty sure it's Deadpool 5 of the new run by Jerry Dugan, where Deadpool, they're all in a group. It's a group of Deadpools because they're mercs for hire, right? And Massacre comes in, and he's just talking all this stuff, and Deadpool's just kind of like, yeah, you know. And they make no mention of what he's actually saying. It's literally just like Spanish, and then Deadpool talking English back to him, and they're having a conversation. But if you don't know Spanish, you don't know what they're talking about unless you want to translate it. But it is absolutely hysterical because they're having some ridiculous conversations in English and Spanish.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, that's not something that you typically see in anything else.
No. There's always the brackets, like translation brackets.
The only other time I saw that was in, I think it was a book that Dynamite was doing. It was Django Unchained meets Zorro. Mm-hmm. I think that was Dynamite or Boom, not sure. But that's the same thing. They had Zorro speaking in Spanish, and it wasn't being translated. I'm like on my phone, like, what does that mean?
Yeah. Yeah, but if you actually go through and translate what Massacre's saying, it is classic, hilarious Deadpool. But they are having a ridiculous conversation between the two. So it's like...
That team he has in that book is so weird. It's like just ragtag group of just like forgotten people, like Fool Killer, Terror, Stingray.
Madcap.
Yeah, Madcap. Like, they're just weird characters. Yeah. And they're all dressing like Deadpool and like working for him. Again, not taking payments. Well, they're kind of upset about that, but...
Well, yeah, well, the group is upset about it. Deadpool really doesn't care.
Yeah.
You know, just like in the other books where he wasn't taking payments, and their accountant's just like, hey, guys, or hey, Deadpool, we really need to sit down and talk about your stuff. He's like, okay.
Yeah, and all the money he's making from doing, like, PR stuff, he's funding the Avengers with, because he's like, I'm a part of the Avengers now, so I'm going to do something good for
the Avengers aren't getting any money.
Nope. Yeah, exactly.
Not any money.
I honestly think that, like, that title Merc, Like I'm sure at this point he's probably got so much money. He's just doing it because he wants to do it now.
Yeah.
What was actually pretty funny in that book, though, is when he first, like, opens up shop and he has, like, Heroes for Hire, the name again. And Luke Cage is calling Matt Murdock, and he's just like, so I owe Deadpool one. Do you want help in court? And he's like, no, I want the Punisher's number. And he's just like,
Who doesn't
well,
like
I
Wade?
can help you out. And Luke Cage is like, I'm going to kill him. Like, for using the Heroes for Hire name. It's so funny.
They were pissed.
Yeah.
So the new Deadpool run by Jerry Dugan, we were just talking about it. I want to make mention that Deadpool number 6, all right, shows Deadpool 2099, right? The first 2099 Deadpool, which happens to be Shikla and Deadpool's daughter. Why this makes sense, I don't know. I don't even know that, maybe they're
What does
slaughtering
his
pigs.
costume look like?
It looks the same, tattered, torn, but it's kind of like riding up on him, and he doesn't have the hat anymore.
Okay.
He has got this giant white beard, and he's chained up, in a living room, repeatedly watching news.
No, I meant the kid.
Oh, the kid. Oh, geez. She looks like let's take an android version of Deadpool. So there's still the reservoir tip, Danny. So don't be
Yeah.
don't worry about that. But it's more like an android metallic kind of deal. It's armor.
Okay.
If you were to take Tony Stark's availability to make armor and slap it in Deadpool format, you got it,
Okay.
right? But then like Zero, like Mega Man Zero,
Yeah.
how he can come in and fly as like a surfboard. She's kind of got a cool little surfboard kind of thing.
Interesting.
It's weird. It's weird. I don't know when Shikla and Deadpool had a child. I don't even know. I didn't even know there was a hint on it.
It's another rip off of DC with the Huntress.
Yeah.
Being Selena Kyle and Batman's daughter. I'm just kidding.
We need some burn cream after that one.
Oh man.
But maybe it's all those like what do you call it? Sacrificing animals that got Deadpool going. Maybe they.
He didn't seem to like it in split second. He
Oh,
got
yeah.
kind of angry.
Just a second. That's another great book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a 3-issue run where it's a 3-issue run where he's teaming up with Cable currently, and it's only on issue 2 right now, but 3's coming out soon. And
Love the Back to the Future cover at number 2.
Yes.
Yeah, that's-
that was absolutely
That
amazing.
looks so cool.
Who's writing that one?
who's writing it?
Who's writing it?
I'm going to say
It's escaping me right now.
Fabian?
Is it? I'm not
Yes,
sure.
yes.
I actually.
Yes.
Is it?
I'm almost positive. 99%. Don't
Messina?
quote me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. But anyway, so Deadpool number 6. That's the recent one that came out next week, starting Wednesday. Deadpool number 7 comes out, which is the 25th anniversary of Deadpool. And just as a little plug, the Heroes Edge will have full variant sets on sale.
It will not be cool unless you get one of those after seeing the Deadpool movie with your friends.
Oh yeah.
You ain't cool unless you pee your pants.
I already have my tickets for Thursday night at 9:45, and then so I will be fun to be at work on Friday, and then I'm seeing it again on Saturday. So
I have my Saturday ticket.
I'm
in
gonna
my
go
pocket.
Saturday mostly to see if I can avoid a lot of the Deadpool fans.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be freaking out.
Yeah.
So
How many how do I explain
I'm gonna
this
sneak a
properly?
chimichanga into the theater. I think I could pull it off. Like just
a
hot.
whole
as
pack
shit.
of El Monterey.
El Monterey. You gotta get the beef and cheese. That's where it's at.
like what? Pre-microwave? Just popsicles?
Just pre-cook them and just
Oh.
stuff them in.
Oh,
It's like Encino Man.
Why don't you make a Deadpool fanny pack?
I have a pretty good idea that guy's sneaking in chimichanga.
He smells like beef and cheese. I can't figure it out.
There's steam coming from his face pack.
He's the one with the chimichangas.
we could always pull a Charlie Kelly and bring somebody with
Spaghetti.
You guys have a chimichanga policy? Is that
Yeah,
a thing?
it's a thing here.
Oh, I can see it
Wear
being
some
a lot of
cargo
fun.
pants.
Yeah.
No, but I think the best thing was when we went to C2E2 last time, when you just walk around, you see all the dudes in Deadpool stuff, showing
There's
off,
a
showing
ton.
off their junk.
What was
Because
really
it's jumpsuits.
Yeah.
Those jumpsuits, man. it leaves nothing to the imagination.
When you see people who are cosplaying as Deadpool, cosplaying as other characters, like when we went there last year, me and Danny were standing outside, just got out of the cab, and we saw some guy walking up. He was wearing Iron Man outfit with the mask up and a Deadpool mask underneath.
That's awesome.
My favorite one was Deadpool as the guy from Jurassic World. And he was wearing the outfit, and then he had a little raptor, and he was like riding around on the raptor.
That's awesome.
Wait, which was it, the doctor?
I've not seen the movie. The main character,
Chris
the guy from
Pratt's
Park-
character?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Star Lord.
That's awesome.
That's a good movie.
Or as we call Jurassic World, Star Lord versus dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Because then I would have seen it in the theater.
We should rename that one. That's awesome.
Star-Lord dressed as Han Solo riding around.
Since we're on the movie, you guys think it's gonna be good?
I've heard that it's gotten positive reviews. I've heard it had like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, it actually
Yeah,
did.
they
100%.
had a pre-showing about a week ago, and nothing but good came out of it.
I've heard that it shouldn't work, but it does.
Yeah, I can see it. The only thing I'm worried about, is well, actually, I shouldn't be worried about it though, because Deadpool seems like a superhero Van Wilder.
Pretty much.
You know, if you really think about it, except I would say Deadpool has more, he yearns.
Well,
I feel like he yearns.
The great thing about Ryan Reynolds is I was watching an interview with him today. He has been writing studios since Wolverine Origins, wanting to do a Deadpool movie. And everyone said no. He's like, it'll be great. People will love it. There's so many fans of it. Mm-hmm. You can make a franchise. Nobody's wanted to do it. And one of the reasons that he did Green Lantern and all these other movies that were kind of flops was to kind of show that, hey, I can do these, and they'll bring people in. And finally, they just gave him the green light.
They made that
that
3-minute
test footage
that
hit
test
the internet.
footage. And then after that, everybody jumped on
the
board.
fans just gushed over it.
Oh, yeah.
And then finally Fox was like, all right, we'll make the movie.
Yeah.
And they didn't do it on that big of a budget either. It has a very, to me, it feels very Blade. Kind of that look to it.
Yeah.
Where it's not so
but still impressive.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very
Still
cinematic.
early Marvel impressive.
Yeah.
Indie feel kind
Yeah.
of. Yeah, I think Colossus looks amazing in it. Sorry, but he looks better than he
Well,
looked in any of those movies.
he has a Russian accent,
Yeah.
which is great.
Thank God.
He's just how he should be.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got the little chinks
Yep.
in the armor. It looks great.
Yeah.
And the good thing about this movie is it's not a movie that a lot of people on the internet. I mean, okay, not to say that they
I was
can't
gonna
bash
say.
it. Not to say that they can't bash it, but it's going to be a little harder to bash a movie like this because Deadpool and this movie are the type of characters that kind of poke fun at themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is what it is.
Well, the only negativity I've even remotely heard about this was when they haven't really declared it rated R yet. And that's the only bad thing. They're like, they can't do a PG-13, they can't do it, and that's not even something bad. But anything negative, that's the only negative thing I've heard yet.
It's definitely are, though.
And I mean, the great thing is with Days of Future Past, totally resetting the X-Men universe. So Wolverine Origins just didn't happen. Push that over there. Now we can do this movie, and now we can start getting into X-Force, which is what Ryan Reynolds is wanting to do.
I can't
I
wait
would
to
love
see
that.
a decent Cable. I want to see a really good Cable.
Yeah, good Cable, yeah. Good Cable, and I would just love to see Phantom X and Deadpool in a movie together.
What a Frenchie.
Why not?
I think it would
Come on, we.
He is one of those characters that is such a he's written by Grant Morrison.
Yeah.
That's who created him.
Yes,
he
that's
is
why he's
so
nuts.
complex. He has his bullets that bite people. He has his central nervous system is his ship Ava. He's got the ability to misdirect people. His powers are so weird.
They're awesome, though.
Very misdirection and confusing. He's the type of crazy that it's just that guy's a piece of shit.
There's how many versions of it now?
A Phantom X are worth 3.
Yeah.
But they don't seem to exist anymore. I think they forgot about
It's
them.
one of those sweep under the rug Marvel
Yeah.
moves.
There was
like Axis.
There was white,
Oh, geez.
white costume Phantom X, black costume Phantom X, female Phantom X.
You just brought up Axis.
I did.
Do you remember when Thanos crushed Deadpool's head?
That was actually Evan. That was actually
It was
the
Apocalypse.
Oh, it was
that
Apocalypse.
Darren
He
had
got-
mentioned earlier.
He got inverted,
and,
and he
and
became
accelerated.
evil Apocalypse.
He
I
got
absolutely love that
accelerated
part.
into like old mean Apocalypse, and Deadpool's like, dude, stop! Like last ditch effort and trying to stop him, and he's just like, nope, and
Yep.
just ripped his head off.
Yep. That made me so happy because the next frame was just like up in the air. And my girlfriend's a huge, huge Deadpool fan, and I would just kind of like be a pokey antagonist to it. And I took a picture of that frame where he is just holding the head up, and I'm like, check this out. Yeah.
Troll.
Yeah. It gave me so much entertainment. because
I
she's-
enjoyed that moment too. I'm not gonna lie; it's one of the best parts of Axis.
It's not the only part.
But it's pretty much the only good part of that.
It was
Yeah.
pretty much the only good part of Axis.
Well, and seeing Red Skull, I love Red Skull.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I at this point, I enjoyed that Spider-Man Deadpool run for what it was. What I'd like to see more in the future of Deadpool is, he can keep the jokes. The jokes have always been there.
They have to be there.
They have never not been there. But I would really like to see him get a little bit more serious, like in X-Force, Uncanny X-Force.
Well, that's what he's doing now in the regular Deadpool run. Now he's getting more serious.
Mhm.
He's still throwing in his quirky little jokes. He's doing a good job, but he is more serious than I've personally read on him.
I actually
now.
heard a rumor that, like, in April, he's going to be biting it.
Again,
That's what I heard.
they killed him off before Secret Wars.
And the only reason I can think of them doing that is to possibly do another relaunch after the movie to get, people reading again or like starting over.
Well, I mean, he's in freaking 8 titles? No, 6 titles right now.
yeah.
I mean,
I'd say it's a good. I mean, a fourth of what Marvel puts out in a month.
easy,
Yeah.
easy. He's in a lot of stuff. I'd hate to see that though.
Yeah.
Well, it just touches on the whole thing of constantly relaunching titles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
It's
Marvel
like,
you.
yeah. Well, DC does it too.
Well, DC's doing it in July?
Rebirth.
I mean, you constantly relaunch something, and it's just
It's like, hey, Bruce Wayne, you're back. Oh, wait. Here comes Rebirth.
Reboot.
We're going to screw everything up again. But yeah, the Gary Dugan, or Jerry Dugan, I don't know. Sorry if I butcher your name if you watch this. He does take a more serious role. Like in Uncanny Avengers, if any of you guys are reading those. He's with Cable, but he's goofy, but he's more straight than,
yeah.
He's not flying off the walls.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so,
You almost said more
Recommended
straight
read.
than Iceman.
Cool.
he's definitely doing that right now. But then you got the hilarity of right now is Spider-Man Deadpool and then Deadpool Cable split second. You got him being crazy wacky Deadpool.
Well, and it's the odd thing about Split Second is that Deadpool's kind of the one leading the way. Cable's kind of not on his game.
Yes.
And it's nice to see Deadpool's kind of like, oh, I'm going to help my buddy.
Maybe that's why I was kind of off on that comic.
Possibly.
Because normally, like, it is the other way around.
Yeah.
And in this comic, like, he's bouncing around the streets.
Yeah.
He's like, I didn't mean to kill that guy. Oh, like, start
Yeah.
over time.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
It was,
No.
well, like when Cable found him, in the sewer, like where he's living with his wife, and they kind of like have a little sparring session, and Deadpool actually like beats Cable.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "What's going on with you, old man?" And then he kind of recounts the history from the past Cable X-Force series. And then,
Don't even bring that up.
but
That should be a.
and then after
Sweet.
after he kind of like gives a couple to Cable, and then Cable looks at him, he's like, "So married now, huh?" And he's like, "Yeah." It's just like it's cool to see these two characters that originally just hated each other, and now they kind of have the whole action buddy relationship.
Yeah. It's kind of like what's his name? Rush Hour.
Chris Tucker?
Chris Tucker.
Jackie Chan.
Hey, you didn't say The Fifth Element, okay?
Best sci-fi
awful
movie
movie.
ever. And you can go away now because that movie is
I'm
awesome.
staying, and you can take your opinion, stay over there.
No, I was gonna say in typical Deadpool Cable, Deadpool is like that annoyed dad.
Yeah.
To where his kid's like a 3-year-old bouncing around,
Yeah.
hanging on his feet. That's how I see
Yeah.
Deadpool is like this little kid, just nah, just
With the
By the
plasma
way,
rifle.
like Fifth Element.
Yeah.
Backseat, long time ago.
What? You're bringing that up now? Wow.
Anyway,
So it
back
holds
to
sentimental meaning for you guys, apparently.
now that I'm questioning Danny, I would like to go into the questioning trivia.
Oh,
Dun, dun, dun.
all right.
Oh boy.
Everybody said all they want to say because now it's trivia time.
Trivia time.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
I'm ready. Here we go. What is Deadpool's full name?
Wade Winston Wilson.
Wow. That's a lot of
That's
W's.
awesome. Yeah, I was gonna say.
WWW.
That.
I wonder if he's gonna be the next Bush.
Jesus.
I have bad jokes.
just as dumb.
WW. Yeah. Oh no. Political bait. Number 2. Darren, I'm gonna cue you in on this one. Anybody can answer, but I think he's gonna take it. What's his first appearance? And give me a month and a year that book was published.
Well, it's New Mutants 98. Month and year that it was published.
Ooh, can I buzz
Oh,
in?
anybody can. Yeah.
I'm gonna say February 91.
Woo! Wow, nice.
Skadoosh.
I had to Wikipedia that
impressive.
one. So not Wikipedia. I had to go on like the Marvel Encyclopedia.
The Marvel Wiki.
Yeah, the Marvel Wiki. Nice job, dude. Nice job. All right. How can I do this one? All sorts of fun, like. Why can't Deadpool die?
Because of his healing factor.
Doesn't have something to do
And?
with death.
And he's in
It
love with
does, but somebody caused it so he cannot die, so he cannot see his one true love, which is death.
Was it Thanos?
Yeah, what'd he do?
That I don't know because I haven't read the series. I'm just really guessing.
Yes. Well, this happened way back when. He basically cursed him with eternal life. So Thanos doesn't want him. I forgot the reason.
That's
why.
right. They talked about that in Deadpool vs. Thanos.
They did, and
Forgot all about that.
and Deadpool Thanos. That's why.
Just remember
that's
Thanos
why he goes to
beating him up a
Thanos.
lot.
That's why he goes to Thanos because he's like, I want to die because this guy's screwing. The reality's screwing with me.
Yeah.
You know, and he wanted to see death. You know. Oh, I just ruined the next question. So you can get the fastest. Who's Deadpool's true love?
Death?
All right. So
Chimichangas.
Right.
His true love.
there's plenty of team affiliations that he's in,
Yes.
right? I think each of you can pick 2. Name 2.
Uncanny X-Force, Uncanny Avengers.
That's both 2 good ones.
Yeah, those are good.
I know.
He has been on the MLF.
The Mutant Liberation Front?
Yeah,
Really?
like way back in
Wow.
Executioner song.
He wasn't on the MLF in the Executioner song.
Well, that's what it said on the card.
Which card? The one that came with the comic?
Yeah.
He wasn't even in that series.
Maybe I'm thinking of something
have
else.
all
I don't
those
remember
cards.
this.
Maybe I'm thinking of something else.
He was a member of the Great Lakes Avengers.
Yes. Yes, he was.
With Flatman.
Really?
Yeah, he kept killing the Immortal Man.
Yep.
He was a member of the most recent Thunderbolts team with Red Hulk, Punisher, Elektra,
Oh,
Venom,
yeah, he was.
Ghost Rider,
It was just like Team
Red
Everyone.
Oh,
There
well, these
Red.
guys win.
Red
Yep.
Leader.
Yeah, you guys win. That's all I have. I thought I had a lot more cool ones. I only had 5 questions.
Hey, the Great Lake Avengers got brought up,
Yeah.
so...
You know what?
Win.
I pronounced Darren the winner. Just for bringing up Great Lakes Avengers.
Great. Do I get something?
I don't know. What do you want?
Chimichanga.
Cool. You win a chimichanga. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the Deadpool episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned a lot about Deadpool going to see the new movie. You can kind of, portray what you learned today. Had some laughs, obviously, and then see what happened to the movie. From what I hear, it's going to be awesome. So next week, we're going to be going over the top 10 DC villains of all time, which is going to be extremely exciting. I'm pretty sure we all have a unanimous number 1. Joker? Yeah.
They'll have to tune in to find out.
Ah! There we go.
The plot thickens.
Now, classically, we're going to do our what we're looking forward to this week as far as comic book releases. So without further ado,
Green Lantern, Edge of Oblivion, number 2 of 6.
how is that book?
Oh, good.
It's good.
Ethan Van Sciver's doing the art.
Oh, so
It's good stuff.
yeah, of course it's good.
I'm gonna have to go with my Old Man Logan #2.
Oh yeah, #1 was awesome.
It was fantastic.
Great book.
I just love the aggression of Old Man. Like he is a curmudgeon.
He's grizzled.
Yeah, totally. Just like yep.
He's as grizzled as they come.
All right, Cam.
I'm looking forward to Batman 49.
Oh,
Bruce
yeah.
Wayne's back, and he wants Alfred to show him the Batcave.
Oh yeah.
And that's not
Oh,
a
that-
pickup line.
I might have to use that this weekend.
Sure. If it works for you, good for you,
Show
man.
me the Batcave. Yeah, I'm actually really excited Bruce Wayne's coming back.
Yeah, that's gonna be a fun book.
And Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo are going to be at C2E2 this year.
Yeah, they both signed on
Yeah.
Gonna be
as
sweet.
of like February 3rd.
Yeah.
Looking forward to get my #1 signed and graded and slabbed. and
Oh baby.
Me too. We're gonna do it together. We're
Oh,
gonna do it
baby.
together. We're gonna do it together. We're gonna do it together.
What is this, Adventure Time? Calm down, Jake.
I'm ready.
Which is also gonna be there.
No,
it's not Jake.
Oh, it's Finn and Princess
Bubblegum.
Bubblegum.
Isn't Grumpy Cat gonna be there?
Seriously, that damn cat's gonna be
Yes,
there?
Grumpy Cat. Anyway.
We're like, boo.
Rob. Oh, no. Hold on.
No.
Maybe Pokey will be there. I like Pokey.
Yeah.
All right, so my pick is Spider-Man Deadpool #2. As we talked about, that's a hilarious Joe Kelly, Ed McGuinness, combo. But that pretty much wraps it for this one. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and
Go see Deadpool.
go see Deadpool. Oh, and Deadpool #7 comes out this week, 25th anniversary book. And thanks to you guys. I'm Blake Britton,
Darren Gravinow.
Danny Humphrey.
Cameron Kivett.
and have a good week.